Welcome to this week's Closing the Distance. Hi, I'm Matt Moore. On today's show, we're bow hunting in Louisiana. We have 3 bow hunts to share with you. I have some new staff guys to introduce you to. It's going to be a fun show with some good footage. Hey, let's get started.
Closing the Distance is brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Hunter Safety System, dedicated to saving hunters' lives. Executioner Broadheads, born to kill. Treason, don't just blend, become. And by Citadel, revolutionary shoot-down shape. Coming up, we'll take you on several bow hunts in Louisiana. Closing the Distance will be right back. Get a head start on your next trophy buck. Order stand placement advanced techniques today at Closing the Distance. Closing the Distance is made possible by Tree Limb Quivers. There's only one tree limb quiver. Sword sights, sharp solutions in aiming. Elusive Wildlife Technologies, taking the elusive out of wildlife. The Stage Deer Attractant, finally, a synthetic scent that works. Matthews Archery. And by the amazing Luminaut. Can your arrow not do this?
Today on Closing the Distance, we're bow hunting in Louisiana. I have some new staff guys to introduce you to. I met Wade and Chris on Rut Report Louisiana. It's what they do on Facebook. It's a really cool Facebook page to where they follow the state of Louisiana with all the success, all the kills, and everybody posts their pictures. It's a really cool way to follow and see what everybody else is doing. And these guys love to bow hunt. They love to film. Let's check in with Wade.
Now, when you think about Louisiana, a couple of things that probably come to mind are the scenic byways, the natural resources, and let's don't forget about that food. Now, one thing that may not come to mind is whitetail hunting, but with the creation of Rut Report Louisiana on Facebook, what we have found that Louisiana has an abundance of trophy whitetail hunting and whitetail hunting in general. And the kids, all the way up to adults, are having a blast in Louisiana hunting whitetails. Well, about 5-6 years ago, I started buying cameras. I got into video, and I'm gonna tell you, I bought so much stuff that my buddy started calling me Gadget God. And I ended up hooking up with old Chris, and he has the same passion that I have, which is not only hunting whitetail, but videoing whitetail. And I think in Chris's mind, he thinks that I like to video more than I like to shoot. Well, I like to shoot too. So, you know, it's that opening morning and everything is quiet until that first bird sings. And then all of a sudden just the woods come alive. Squirrels start moving, acorns start falling.
We had several bucks come in that morning. It was a good piece of property for us for opening morning. It's produced some in the past, and so had several deer come in and everything. We seen this deer, and man, camera guy behind you over your shoulder, man, it's a great feeling when you hear that word, oh, there's a shooter. So Wade spotted the deer first, and after I got my binoculars on him and everything, it was a deer that I'd recognized from a few pics I had from him earlier. But I kind of looked back at Wade and I said, man, are you sure? And a long story short, we let that deer go the first time. I had him at 20 yards, 25 yards for a few different shot opportunities, but just didn't take them. And the deer left out of that area and everything. Well, as the morning progressed, we like to talk back and forth to the followers we have on social media through Rut Report Louisiana. And so what does Wade do? He goes to blasting me, talking about, you know, hey, Rut's in the stand letting shooters go this morning on opening day and everything. And so the more he got to gigging me on that, all of a sudden the deer shows back up. Well, you know me. The more he goes to talking in my ear, the bigger that deer gets. And by the time he gets there, I'm not really worried about his horns because I suffer from buck fever. So the best thing I can do is once I've mentally made that connection that I'm going to shoot, I leave the horns alone and I go to focusing on the shot. So from that point on, I was looking for a good shot opportunity. And so we wound up shooting the deer. We wound up recovering the deer. It was a great hunt, but you got to watch out for them camera guys. We shot this deer a little while ago. Seen him go out here and he didn't drop immediately. Had an old hump in his back to act like he was burning. We immediately feel like we recognized that as a liver hit. Wasn't sure how in the world I could hit him in the liver, but apparently I hit him up and kind of back just a shade. He might have been quartering a little more than I thought. Nevertheless, the arrow looks good. A little bit of blood sprayed out here, but the arrow looks good. Arrow don't have no good on it. Good red blood, no bubbles though. So my guess is that we punched him through the liver. Man, I was thankful for that big wide cut, that 2.5 inch cut, this Executioner broadhead. We're taking them for a test drive right now. Mr. Matt Moore was good enough to get some of them to us. This is the first animal that we shot with them. And wouldn't you know, just so happened on a good shot, on a good hit, but a marginal hit. Wouldn't you know, we needed a 2.5 inch cut, guys. When you shoot one back like that, you need that big cutting surface. So at the end of the day, the arrow looks good. When we got up to him, you know, the deer was what I had anticipated he'd be in the get-go. He wasn't what I'd anticipated him being when I shot him. Shot was a good shot. It was a little bit back, but it was liver, maybe a little bit of lung, mostly liver though. You know, at the end of the day though, we were able to make the recovery, successful hunt. This is our first deer on film for the guys with Closing the Distance, Mr. Matt Moore. We're excited about that. You know, at the end of the day, we like to target mature deer, and I guess this morning we're misled a little bit into believing that this deer was a 3.5, maybe a 4.5-year-old deer. After getting on the ground and getting a better look at him, I'm thinking the deer is 3.5 most, maybe 2.5. We had several different deer there that we could use to age them, so we tried to do the best job we could of stair-stepping them up. But you know, mistakes like that's going to happen. At the end of the day, you know, we like to practice what we preach. I give this deer a bye the first time when he come through and everything, and we let him go. The more we got to talking about it and you know, reasoning through it and everything, with the mass we thought he had and with the height on the eye guards, looking at him, we thought the deer was just tight and maybe kind of one of those deer that's just going to be tight and have some meat on him and everything. But you know, you never really know till you get your hands on him what you got. So at the end of the day, you know, hey, I'm proud of him. I'm gonna put a tag on him. I'm gonna tag him. He's mine, and he's going home with me. But you know, hindsight's always 20/20, so you can use that, or we're going to use that as a learning experience going forward. It'd have been great to have let the deer go another year to see what he would have blossomed into. But at the end of the day, you know, it was a good hunt with a great friend. We were able to get it on video, and we were excited about what the season had in store for us after that opening day hunt.
After the break, Buckshot gets his first bow kill. We'll be right back. Don't go on your next hunt without knowing why you might miss. Get your free copy of Shot Placement 101 today. Details at closingthedistance.com. Closing the Distance is brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Hunter Safety System, dedicated to saving hunters' lives. Executioner Broadheads, born to kill. Treason, don't just blend, become. And by Citadel, revolutionary shoot-down shape.
Well, this next hunt is near and dear to my heart. This is a hunt with me and my best buddy Buckshot. You know, he's my son, but at the end of the day, we're father and son, but at the same time, we're friends.
Well, it's getting close to the end of season, and today Daddy checked me out early so we could come down here and hunt, and we'd have plenty of time to see some deer. We finally got up on the lease, and we're gonna make a hunt this evening. It's getting pretty close to the end of season, like I said, so I'm trying hard to get it done in the past few days that I have left. So I'm hoping that I can get one of the executioners to the side of an old doe or something. So if the Lord will bless me, I may can get one this evening.
This little dude worked hard all year long. You know, he's killed good deer with his rifle. He's killed good deer with his crossbow. This year he wanted to kill a good deer, or a deer period, with his compound bow. He's 11 years old. He's finally gotten to the point where he can pull back enough weight to be able to ethically take a deer with a compound bow. And so, man, bless his heart, he practiced. He was shooting good out to 35 yards, so I figured 20 yards was his effective range when you factor in adrenaline. So we set out trying to get him on some deer, and we shot over deer, we shot under deer, but he just couldn't get a hold on that adrenaline rush associated with being that close to a whitetail. Well, the hunt that we had where he was successful, you know, I run the cameras. Cameras told me that the deer were locked on food there on a particular location. So I check him out of school and get him out of school early, and we take off to the stand. We clean up, we spray down, we're running the ozonics. Wouldn't you know it, deer start coming in just like the cameras said they would. But the deer got in on us before we were able to get him into shooting position. So mind you now, an 11-year-old has a lot of adrenaline going through him when he's that close to deer, but it took him 15 minutes, or roughly 15 minutes, from the time deer got in there to that 20-yard range. It took him 15 minutes to be able to get his bow, get sideways, get knocked up, and be able to draw on one. So, I mean, the footage, you know, the footage isn't the best with the shot and the video after the shot, but the little fella's adrenaline was so that he just come to pieces and everything. And I tell you what, if you hadn't experienced that, that's a special time for a father and son when you can put something together like that and a goal that he has had throughout the year comes through. It's what it's all about, ain't it, bud?
Yes. Yes. I've never thought my legs would stop.
That's right. That's right.
Every time one of them looked up at me, I kept on saying, I just better see my legs vibrating. Look at my legs right now.
That's adrenaline, baby. That's adrenaline.
I don't know where I shot.
I don't know. Let's look at the video. You know, we took the camera and we reviewed the shot. And I knew the shot was back a little bit, but we give the deer till after dark. The deer left with a luminoc, so we knew we had that luminoc to look for. We went down, we found a little sign where he shot the deer. We look out through the timber there, and about 75 yards out of the timber, we seen that luminoc.
Well, I just shot at my first doe, and well, it was a little farther back than I thought it was going to be after we reviewed the footage, and we went looking, and we found my arrow, and there's not a lot of blood. So what we're going to do is we're going to just stop right here, and then we're going to come back next morning just to give her plenty of time to die. We on the tree right here, we put a orange safety vest just so it can mark the tree right here, to where if we're over there, we can look at this tree and automatically know this is where my arrow was at. But we were able to review the arrow, and from there we made a decision to back out and give that deer some time. You know, I've learned a lesson in the past that if you shoot them in the back and you get them in that liver, you have got to give them time. And the weather was complimentary for that. So the night was cold. We were able to give that deer all night. We came back the next morning, picked up the track. We found where the deer bedded up and got up several different times. So we looked and looked, and about an hour or two into the recovery, we figured out right quick that we were going to need some additional help. So we called in the assistance of a track dog. They have a network in Louisiana called the Louisiana Blood Trailing Network, and it's a group of guys that use social media and Facebook to be able to help. It's a non-profit deal to where they're just reaching out trying to help people find and recover their deer. We were able to call some good friends of ours that had a track dog, and they were able to come out in about 20 minutes. They were able to find my little boy's deer. So after we get this deer recovered and everything, the first thing we've got on our mind is getting the buckshot to let him know we got his deer. So me and my little brother, we run to school. I call the principal to make sure it's okay, and you know, we sneak Drake out the back door, and he's able to come out there. You know, man, the smile on his face was worth it all whenever he knew that we had recovered his deer. The close of it is that we wanted to take Drake back to the woods and let him be in his camo with his bow and everything, and let him go on ahead and do his own close so that he'll be able to understand how to tie the hunt and put the period at the end of the sentence. Well, I just got my first bow kill, and I'm very happy about it. I've been hoping for it all season, but it wasn't the shot that I was planning on getting. It hit a little bit far back, so that's why we let her lay overnight. And I had school today, so Daddy and my Uncle Andy, they went and they tried to find her, and they did find her with the help of a friend's dog. But I can tell you one thing, that ozonics pretty much saved the day, because I never would have got this deer, because all 7 or 8 deer were downwind of us, but the ozonics saved the day.
Coming up, we're back in Louisiana for one more bow hunt. Closing the Distance will be right back. Closing the Distance is made possible by Tree Limb Quivers. There's only one tree limb quiver. Sword sights, sharp solutions in aiming. Elusive Wildlife Technologies, taking the elusive out of wildlife. The Stage Deer Attractant, finally, a synthetic scent that works. Matthews Archery. And by the amazing Luminaut. Can your aeronaut do this?
Well, this next hunt took place on the opening day of rifle season here in North Louisiana. Wade was in Kansas, and I had initially thought about sending my camera with Wade so he'd have a backup camera while he was with an outfitter in Kansas, but he suggested that I didn't do that so I could sell film, and so I set out to sell film. I had a deer that was pretty well on a pattern in a food plot, a little area we call the doe hole. Usually it's loaded up with does and we use it for the kids. You know, we went in that morning with the wind in the wrong direction, but the deer was on a good enough pattern and we had enough faith in the ozonics that we were running. During that morning, had a couple of small bucks come in, and I learned another valuable lesson. We left a limb overhanging a food plot for a reason, and we left it there for a scrape location. It's about 40 to 45 yards away from the shooter stand and everything. And we had a small buck come and work that scrape, and he locked on something in the woods. So I was able to get the camera turned in the other direction. I was able to get around and get ready, and lo and behold, it wasn't just one, it wasn't just two, but it was actually 3 different bucks that were unfamiliar to me that were coming in there, but they were unfamiliar with the setup, and you could tell they were kind of new to the area. So those deer came in, and it took me a long time. I had an unbelievable amount of B-roll footage, but I just left the camera running because I didn't know what else to do. I mean, I'm a novice at this self-filming. There was a scrape there and an opening at about 35 yards. He just had to stop and tend to that scrape. So I sat there, watched him tend to that scrape. When he put his head down and started throwing his horns up through the tree, I was able to get drawed back on him. He turned and he looked, and he kind of caught movement. He knew something was coming, but hey, by then it was too late. I was able to run an arrow through those lungs. Same time, I was able to call my brother. My brother was hunting on the place with me, and he had his little girl with him, Abby. I was able to call them. He said, "Hey, we'll come help you track him, bro." I said, "Well, y'all come work the camera and everything." And I was able to use my niece, Abby, and allow her to help track. And it was a short track job till we was able to find the deer. That's right. That is right.
Mighty fine there, bro.
What a deal, man. What a deal. I'm glad you come found him for me. Give me a hug. Oh, I love you. You know, I thought this was a deer that we knew. I thought this deer was a big 8-point, a big tight 8-point that was for sure kin to a little old deer that are a good 8-point that I shot several years back. But this deer here, though his frame is very, very similar, this is a bonus buck. We don't have no pictures of this deer. There were 2 deer in here this morning that I don't have no pictures of. So, man, that's just proof positive that you got to get out there. Even if the camera's telling you that there's not any mature deer there, there's not any shooters there, you got to get out of there. You know, these deer were in there for 30 minutes, and never once did I get a picture of these deer this morning, even though they were there. They were just real kind of standoffish to the food plot. They skirted the edge. This deer sparred with a deer that was native to that area this morning, and I was able to get it on video. So, man, this is just one of those cruisers, a couple of cruisers that come through, and I was just in the right place at the right time this morning. So, just sure thankful to be able to enjoy the outdoors, sure thankful to be able to enjoy family with my brother and my sister-in-law and my niece coming and helping me track one. Buckshot would have been with me today, but Buckshot was hunting on his own. He's a do-it-yourself kind of guy now, 11 years old, and I'm proud of him, but I wish he was here with me right now. So, hey, we're going to wrap it up and we're going to call it a day. We're going to get this one tagged and get him out of here.
I really enjoyed today's show. I hope you did as well. Those were some fantastic hunts from Louisiana. And you know, Louisiana is one of those states that maybe not a lot of people think about, but Louisiana really does offer some phenomenal outdoor experiences. Great hunting, great fishing, great camping. It really is a sportsman's paradise. But when I think about something that has a lot to offer, I can't help but always think about what a relationship with God really does look like. You know, I run into a lot of people as a pastor who kind of have the wrong impression or wrong idea about God. There's a lot of people in this world that think that God is a taker and not really a giver, and nothing could be further from the truth. All throughout the Bible offers promise after promise after promise that God makes to people that would put their trust and put their faith in Him. In fact, the most famous verse in all the Bible says this: "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son." God is a giver by nature. And if you've ever had the wrong impression about God and not really given God a second thought, I would encourage you to take a second look. He really has a lot for you and wants something great in your life. If you'd like to know more about a personal relationship with God through His Son, Jesus Christ, just go to closingthedistance.com and click on the Moment of Truth tab.